Welcome back to Madam Across New Horizons. I'm dear darling. Shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today? Late night recording, not actually because of D&D. I actually was like too late home that I couldn't. I was like, sorry friends, can we move D&D to tomorrow instead? And they were like, yes. So you know, I came back like an hour and a half or something after D&D would have started, so it would have literally been like half a session. But no, so instead I just like played a bit of Genshin, new patch, Honkai Star Rail, did my dailies and that sort of thing. Did I get Chaska? I did get Chaska, don't you worry about. She's a lot of fun. She kind of reminds me a lot of Navia, but anyway. Good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 11:53 p.m. on Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. A lot of what I was doing was basically just trying to run around the new areas that they added in the new Genshin Impact patch, which was a lot more than I expected, to be honest, because I was just like, okay, normally what I do is I try and unlock all the teleporters, and then do so, and then I can teleport to exactly where I need to be. Like if I need to go to a boss, I can teleport there. If I need to do XYZ, I can do XYZ. But this one is like a lot of the teleporters like were not as immediate. A lot of the times you can just run up to them and you just like interact with them, that's fine. Sometimes you had to now, in this one, like do puzzles, or you had to actually like interact with, like it forces you into story cutscenes and things like that, which I don't mind if I was just there exploring naturally. But the thing is, I'm not exploring naturally because I need to get the teleport points, because the teleport points are where like the collectible items I need to ascend my characters, and for me my priority is ascending my characters first, and then I engage with the story and exploration. So it would be nice if it could just sort of like, whoop, I don't know, I don't really know how you fix it, to be honest. But there should just be some source of being able to get or like you can, or do the thing that Honkai Star Rail does, where you can just quick teleport to a place that you need to get the stuff, and then that'd be great. And then I can explore at my own time and engage with a story. So then, like when the cool moments happen, because there were some cool moments, I could be like, oh yeah, you know, I'm ready to actually engage with a story, rather than being like, I don't want to immediately do this right now. I kind of want to unlock the stuff and then get out. But then it's like, okay, well, I'm stuck here now. Christmas Shory Morphing Potion, interesting. But yeah, what are we going to talk about today? I'm not really sure. The new series came out. Another Crab's Treasure. I don't know where I was going with this. I didn't unpause. I was talking for like 3 minutes, and then I just realised that I didn't unpause. But I was talking about Another Crab's Treasure, and that how it came out, the new thumbnail art, summary. Definitely feels like maybe I could have done more for this thumbnail art, like more for the render of the background of that sort of thing, but at the same time it would have been a lot of effort, and I didn't really want to do that, so I didn't. And also it looked better, in my opinion, with silhouettes, because with silhouettes it's simple shapes rather than an incredibly busy background, which is what could have happened. But yeah, but then I was just talking for ages, and it turned out I was not even unpaused, so you had none of that. That's basically what I was saying. But yeah, honestly, it's a fun game. It's a nice sort of foray into a Souls-like, a genre I've not yet explored. And it's always interesting, I think, dipping into a new genre, right? Like, it's almost like a sad thing, but as you get older and older, like, there's less new genres for you to particularly delve into, because you would have experienced more and more of them. I'm not sure if sad is really the right word, but like it's just more of a consequence of, you know, living your life, is that you experience more things, and eventually there's not going to be as many new things for you to experience. Like I mean, remember the first time you heard X genre of music, like I don't know, like rock music or something for the first time, or rap music or soul or something. Did it change your life? Maybe, maybe not. That's not really for me to judge. But you still had that first time you listened to it. It's almost a shame that those moments become fewer and fewer as you get older, which is probably around the time you start to appreciate it maybe more. But maybe not. I don't know. Your mileage may vary when it comes to that. Wait. I haven't. Did I speak about Okami? Did I speak about the series which I finished? I did. For Okami. and I did frustrate as well. Okay. Because I remember for one series, I can't remember what it was. I think it was Railbound or something. I basically forgot to speak about it until someone reminded me. Because they were trying to find my Animal Crossing video in it, and I was like, whoops. But yeah, like it's almost a shame that there are fewer and fewer genres, new genres for you to engage with as you get older. Like, you could come up with a very valid point that more genres are being created as you get older. Like, you know, for example, video games, the bullet heaven genre wasn't really a thing until Vampire Survivors really like catapulted it into popularity. I mean, roguelites weren't even that much of a thing until, I don't know what you'd argue is a big roguelite which sort of propelled everything forward. Maybe like Binding of Isaac's probably out there, but in those early days, I'm not sure it would have been V1. But I mean, new genres which actually have much of a foothold certainly are not being invented at the exact same rate that you might be engaging with new ones. Well, it depends, I suppose, on how adventurous you are with engaging with new ones. Because maybe you're someone who's like, you know, I like to keep with the same thing I do, and then maybe like once a year I'll try a new genre, in which case, you know, there probably are enough genres to go around for you. You could probably spend the rest of your life and you'll eventually slowly get through them all instead of running them out. But yeah. But it does seem like a shame. There is sometimes quite like a sort of magical feeling which you can't really recapture once again of the first time of doing something, right? Sometimes the first time of doing things is terrible and sucks, but there's a lot of times when first time doing things is, you know, awesome. It's like really, really cool, and you're just like, yeah, this is a great opportunity, this is great fun, I'm really enjoying this, and it sort of dives into something new, you know. And with that, I suppose, the fact that it is a finite thing, technically it's a finite thing, almost brings like a sense of melancholy to it, if I suppose if you look at it in that light. But a much more realistic way to look at it is there's no way you as a person will engage with most of the genres, I suppose, within your lifetime. Like, there's so many genres I have not, like, I've heard about, but like probably not really engaged with. Like Bullet Heaven, technically the first foray of me playing a Bullet Heaven game was in Zone Zero, where they added it as arcade mode, and then I was like, it's not really my thing, but you know, more power to you if you do like it. Have I still played a full JRPG from start to finish? No, I've not. I'm sure there's more as well, but it's just a sort of thing where it's like, even though it's like, how do I put this? How do I put this? It's like you technically have a finite amount of things, but really, in practicality, you don't. But also, then you sort of go and loop around again, that you technically do only have a finite amount, because there's only going to be so many of those different genres that, while you may try them, there's only going to be so many that you actually end up liking that much, right? You know, you'll probably not go to it, like, try this new genre and immediately be like, yeah, you know, this is my jam straight away. There's only going to be like so many different genres of music you'll listen to and find that there'll be so many which you'll just be like, oh yeah, this is the one which I'm going to like listen to for the rest of my life or something. Yeah. And if that's the case, then there really is so many, like, there's only so many things you'll listen to, only so many new genres which you'll try until you get to a point where it's like, oh yeah, there aren't any more genres, I suppose, that you would truly deeply fall in love with again, or for the first time. But again, maybe it's the wrong way to think about it, because it's not like enjoying something for the first time is necessarily the most important part. I guess it's important in the way that you wouldn't have discovered it if it wasn't a first time, but I mean, like, there's the whole rest of the catalogue of the genres for you to engage with, and you probably would end up enjoying more than the first one you might have listened or watched or engaged with, you know? So I don't know where I was going with this, except for maybe to make a very sort of melancholic statement. It's like you only have so many favourite moments left in your life. Okay, that sounds like a really depressing way when I put it like that. On plus side, it also means that you experience them, and you still have all the previous memories, all the previous favourite moments you had to recollect and remember and think about, and you'll be like, yeah, those moments are special, no? It's nice to be able to reflect upon those and have them in first place, because if you didn't have them in first place, then I guess there would be nothing. So I guess the alternative is to it's kind of a false dilemma, because the alternative is to not have those memories in first place, which is, you know, I think most people would probably wager as the worser of the two options. If you're like, oh, what would you prefer, to have the nice memory and then technically eventually will run out, or just not have them? I don't know, I'm trying to think of where I'm going with this, because it vaguely reminds me of this Almost Friday sketch which came out recently of like escaping a friend zone, and there's like a really hard line in it which I can't remember exactly, but it's basically along the line, what was it? You know, if I search up a video I'll probably find it, but it's something along the lines of fearing rejection and accepting friendship as the best you can do, or something. It was basically some sort of like dramatic Dune parody of escaping a friend zone. Oh, okay, don't listen to that. Which I found both amusing and sort of like, I don't know, Almost Friday always have like these very interesting concepts, I think, which, with a comedic conceit, I suppose, but then they play it like straight almost every single time to a very dramatic level. Like I loved their Secret Shopper one. That was probably my favourite one from all my favourite sketch from them. But what was the quote? Someone probably, it's better to reach your love and fail than to accept the illusion of friendship as the best you can do. That's it. Because I remember like the general concept of it was obviously better to try and confess to someone, even if, and the alternative maybe, you know, what, living in denial, I suppose. That's basically the sort of general concept of what we're trying to go for. But yeah, I don't know, that's a really hard line. It's better to reach for love and fail than to accept the illusion of friendship as the best you can do. You fear rejection more than you fear from being alone. There's a lot of hard lines in this video, and then they, spoilers I suppose, kind of end it off with a joke punchline to sort of like subvert your own expectations, where you're like, oh, you think it's actually making this progress or something. Anyway, yeah, what was I talking about? I don't really know. Finite moments, I guess finite discoveries is really the thing. But I don't know, it almost feels like it's an inherent paradox, because if you take it from a grander scale of things, literally there are finite many discoveries of, like, if you pick, you'd have to, I suppose, locate it down on something, and like for example, finitely many new genres of movies that you'll find. You might then argue on the technical scale, it's like, oh, you can just define all these subgenres, but that's like, I feel like not taking the heart of the question. You know, I'm talking about like discovering horror or crimes, or horror or whodunits, or like mysteries or comedy movies or first time. While you can break these all down into subgenres, I suppose, even still that's finite, but or countable perhaps is a better word. But it's infinite in the sense that you would, while it technically is infinite, you would have a hard time, you know, for example, finding infinite pages of these different subgenres you might be able to find on Wikipedia. maybe that's like a sort of good benchmark. Like if we just take there's only finitely many genres you could define, which would be like defined by Wikipedia. Which basically is just sort of like a yardstick for measuring it has enough sway, it has enough media property to fulfilling that genre to actually populate it. But then you sort of go a little bit deeper and you're just like, well, it's actually sort of like technically infinite, because again, all these subgenres exist. I was making what I now presented as strongman, I now present as a strongman. All these subgenres now exist, and you know, new genres are being created all the time, and new variations within them. So discoveries are not finite. But when you go even deeper again, and you go from now like a more realistic perspective, it's like, who out there, like that only applies to a small subset of people who are going to understand the nuance between all these different genres, such that it actually holds any inherent meaning. For the majority of the people, you know, all of those different types of like slashers and intense thrillers and psychological and cosmic horror are all under the umbrella of horror. And discovering one is not that much of a discovery from another. But then you can go a step deeper and you go, but like even more in the practical terms, the average person out there is not discovering new genres every single day. It's not looking up a new genre of movie to watch every single time and pushing the boundaries. So fundamentally, even though there's only finitely many things that you could discover, we still have finite life within them to discover them, which effectively makes it feel infinite, right? But it's like a very interesting sort of, dichotomy is not the right word, but there's an interesting sort of back and forth I feel like I'm going with here, of discover, don't discover, discover, don't discover. And I don't know if it is a resolution to this. I mean, there probably is a resolution, and probably most of it is you're way overthinking this. It is it's literally infinite, but it's technically, you know, who cares? In a realistic lifetime, the finiteness of it does not matter. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. That's a very succinct way of putting it. But that also would not fill up a 20-minute episode or conversation. So, you know, you've got to pick and choose your battles. And my battle here is being able to have a discussion about it all in the first place. Yeah. I don't know, finite discoveries? It probably doesn't even matter about this finite discoveries anyway. Because, you know, I still think from even more practical standpoint, most people would much rather be like, oh, finite discoveries, but I'd rather engage with the finite things I engage with rather than always pushing a boundary for a new thing. And I think that's okay too. Anyway, right now I'm going to round this episode off here because I've got nothing else to say about it. I've run out of my finite discoveries too quickly by racing through them as a checklist. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to round this episode off here, so if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.